we feel so busy sometimes, and people were like, "Oh, you want to do like a release party?" And we were like, "We kind of want to
A
just
release
chill.
nap,
We kind of want to release nap and to like just chill. It just feels so good to have these
release
things."
eating at in my room.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sarah from The Music Enthusiast. We're a music blog, and our goal is for you to discover your favorite artists. Today's guest is Rabel, an indie pop duo hailing from New York City, and they recently just released their new EP. They're also currently on their North American tour and making their way to the UK in May.
Lying on the floor, think I just came. Now you get bored saying now I'm in pain. Hell won't stop, hell is strange. Going down hard and showing up late. Back to school, do as I'm told. You were in shock, babe, I was enrolled. Terrible luck, fright system. What is her name? Tell me, what does she own?
Congrats on the new EP. It is incredible. There's 7 brand new songs. Little Acts of Violence. I also love the new band name, U2. It is so
Thanks.
incredible and so unique. Like, who would have thought of U2?
We ended up thinking it was pretty original.
Yeah, it was my idea, but Tucker really came around to it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. What are your fondest musical memories?
Honestly, it's like maybe cliche, but like probably just listening to music in the backseat of the car growing up because I feel like that's like was foundational, like where my music memory comes from and just like my taste comes from is just like hearing things. And when you're that age, you don't think about like other options. You're just like, this is music and this is what's good. So I feel like I took in a lot there.
I feel like from the age of like 4 to like 8 or something, I would always go to sleep with the Pink Moon album on
Mhm.
every night for some reason.
By Nick Drake.
Yeah, the Nick Drake Pink Moon. And so that album I feel like burned into me some in some way. So it's almost hard to listen to that album because it's so like emotional in a weird way.
Was that you putting it on or was that your parents doing it?
They did it. It was
Oh.
their idea because
They did it.
I think they felt like it was very relaxing, like nighttime sounds, like sweet lullaby vibes.
My next question was going to be, what was the first album I ever spoke to? So I'm guessing yours is Nick Drake.
Yeah, but I didn't even know it was speaking to me,
Right.
but
It was
it
like
was speaking to me.
unintentional.
I think one album that sticks out to me is like from that era of when I was just hearing stuff as a kid was probably Car Wheels on a Gravel. No, what's the yeah
Car
Car
Wheels
Wheels
on
on
a
a
Gravel
Gravel
Road.
Road by Lucinda Williams.
Mhm.
I would hear a lot of music, but as an album, that one I was like aware that it was an album. I don't even remember thinking, "Oh, I like this." It just like existed. As I've gotten older, it's like still one of my favorite albums ever. And when I hear it, it like shoots some weird like nostalgic goo into my
Yeah.
brain.
I think the first album for me that I was aware of as a thing that I liked was Guero by Beck, and I would listen to that and when we'd go on road trips, and I remember thinking like I like this whole album and I like this song and this song that comes right after it, and I was very aware of like the album quality of it.
I know that you guys went in art school and that's how you both met, but was music the thing you loved first or was art?
I hated music for a while and then I just started coming around recently.
Are you serious?
No.
I grew up in like a visual art family, so for me, I was always like, "Oh, visual art is what I like and what I do." Not because it was imposed on me; it was just what I was around. But
Mhm.
from very early, I liked singing and I learned guitar, but it felt always felt like more of a hobby. And I was continuing to do that like throughout school. It never ever dawned on me as like I should maybe do this instead. It took a while to get there.
Kind of the same thing for me. Grew up wanting to be a visual artist. I was learning a bunch of instruments in high school for no reason. Like I was like, oh, I want to learn harmonica really badly for no reason. But I wasn't thinking of myself as being musical at all.
What kind of art were you guys making in art school?
I was doing a lot of like digital art and like photography, drawing, a lot of like weird conceptual internet based projects.
I started off painting and then I started doing like sculpture and video art.
Love. I was in visual arts for a year in college and I transferred into media arts.
Oh,
I
cool.
preferred it so much more because there was photography and like film studies, which I loved.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm constantly bouncing around and I'm always like, now that I'm doing music all the time, I'm like, sometimes I daydream about going back to just visual art and it's But I think that's just part of being creative. It's just like the promise of another medium is always really exciting.
And with music too, like you're like able to merge visual art with your music as well, with like cover arts and lyric videos. Like it's really translucent in that way.
Yeah, we love having those little pockets of things where we get to like use our visual brain to like make things. I think it would not feel as good if it was just like we just were in charge of the music and that was it.
Yeah, because you have to create that visual world for sure. Congrats on the new EP again. How was
Yeah.
release week?
Pretty good.
It was okay.
It feels like just a relief. We feel so busy sometimes, and people were like, "Oh, you want to do like a release party?" And we were like, "We kind of want to
A
just
release
chill.
nap?
We kind of want to release nap and to like just chill." It just feels so good to have these
Release
things.
eating in my room.
Yeah, on the outside, it seems like, oh, they just came up with these songs, they finished them, and then they put them out. But like,
It takes so long.
it takes so long, and it's like we wrote these songs like because we write so many songs, it feels like these songs are ancient, the ones that just came out.
For sure.
So it's just like there's a surreal element to it, but there's also a nice part of like once we no longer have like the burden of like finishing the last details and it's out in the world, like I can come back to the songs and like hear them again for the first time.
Or
in a
forget
way.
about them.
Yeah, or like
Just forget about you ever did them.
it feels good to have them out.
Because some of these songs like you've had in the vault for like over a year.
I mean, one of them like was out. We released it last year, basically.
Yeah, but in terms of like when we wrote them, like yeah,
Long ago.
I don't even know
Sometimes.
when. We have so many that are like 5 years old, 6 years old that people haven't even heard because we just haven't gotten to it. It takes a minute.
Yeah, for sure. And like picking between the songs for an EP, what's that like for you guys? Is it like easy or is it hard for
No,
you? No.
it's really hard, I think. Well, at this time it was. We were just kind of going with which one was like calling to us to work on. We weren't really like seeing like the forest through the trees necessarily. We were just like, which one is raising its hand? The next project will be more like of a thoughtful collective statement. Not that this is not, but like we didn't like slave over like picking the song and feeling like what's going to be, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it felt like all the songs were kind of like atomized and they like happened to come together rather than a process of like, let's make all these songs that are intimately related to each other, like let's bring them up at the same time. It feels like kind of a collection of like singles in a way, and we're still figuring out like what they're saying to each other.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of an EP. I feel like it's really just a collection of songs that belong together and could take some time to figure out why they belong together.
It feels representative of like the creative process that Tucker and I have, where it's such a mix of like Tucker will come up with something almost entirely on his own, and then I'll add a little bit, or sometimes it'll be like really collaborative, or sometimes I'll come up with something on my own and Tucker will add a little bit. So there's constantly that play of like feels representative of our relationship.
And this project too, like you collaborated with more people than ever before. So what was that difference like between the creative process you guys have and the creative process that you had with these people on this project?
It varied. I mean, Reelin was like the first one we ever made with a producer. Well, we made like a kind of, we worked on a different demo with that producer almost as like a first date to see like if we want to go on a second date. And then the second date was Reelin, basically. And that was like the first time. But Reelin was a great candidate for that because 90% of the time we'll like be producing a song at the same time as writing it. And sometimes like an instrumental choice that we discover will like inform something about the content of the song. But Reelin was almost like Aaron like basically had all the lyrics fully formed and like the structure more or less worked out. So then all the questions were, what does this sound like and what is the best sound to like tell that story or whatever. We had a suspicion that this guy Lyco would be good at it based on his track record, and he was like really great to work with, and he almost felt like a third member like of us. We just kind of had like a shared brain day, and we were kind of just like producing kind of all at the same time. That was cool, and that had never happened.
Before that, we've been just literally making all the music in this room and have never worked with anybody. So we had gotten quite used to that. It's kind of scary, but also fun to like expose ourselves to like taking this process and bringing it somewhere else.
Yeah. Did you work in another studio for this project?
Honestly, most of the songs we still made in this
Yeah.
Yeah.
this Mrs. Tucker's room.
Mhm.
But it was Reelin and Little Acts of Violence were the only other. Oh, and I Don't Know Yet.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I don't know
Well,
yet.
not really. We kind of.
We recorded drums for I don't know yet, and like some synths with Lyco too.
Yeah.
But we ended up bringing it back here and like finish and like kind of bringing it back home. And like Little Acts of Violence too was slightly different, where the demo and the lyrics and everything were basically all done, basically. And we were like, should we just release this? He basically helped us like make it better, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And he had some like key like
Patrick.
yeah contributions that really set it off.
You guys are headed on your US tour very soon, and then making your UK debut soon after that. So what are you both thinking of when it comes to creating your own show?
It's cool when we open because it's like all you have to do is show up and kind of like surprise people, and there's like less pressure. But for a headline, it feels like, I mean, we haven't done a big headline like this, so I don't know yet, but it maybe feels more like coming home, where it's like, oh, these people like know us or like came here to see us and see the thing that we've created, and they like are dedicating their time to that. So there's
Better not
something
fuck it
like,
up.
well, there's like this a little bit more pressure of like, let's not mess it up, but also sort of like there's more of like open arms of like, it feels more welcoming.
Not pressure, but more like we should make a statement with like how we're presenting ourselves or something. Aaron and I are like didn't grow up playing shows or anything, so I felt like in the last year or two we were just getting our sea legs with playing, and it was like we had to do that before we could come up with some like statement.
Yeah.
What are your favorite restaurants when you're on the road?
Shell, gas station, McDonald's, BP.
Yeah, we really like getting pho,
Mm,
Like getting pho.
and we like getting Thai food. Feels like always a safe bet.
yeah.
Like
But also, I was like, when we did this last tour with Ricky Montgomery, I was like, I really like don't want to like get McDonald's every time we have to stop to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I didn't think I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
But like, I just was like really adamant about getting like healthy Trader Joe's snacks, and like had so many healthy snacks that I brought with that I'm doing again.
I ate a lot of McDonald's. I ate a lot of like snacks like Funyuns and stuff. So yeah, I did find it hard to eat healthy, and I didn't really do it. Also, the hotel breakfast is like pretty heinous.
Yeah.
Like, but sometimes it's what you have to do. But you know, go to the look for the mini fridge. They usually have yogurt. It's a pretty good
Yeah.
option. And then grab some fruit maybe. But even the yogurt is like full of sugar. But sometimes it's fun. You can't resist using the waffle maker.
Very true.
I'll do better this time, I promise.
And I wanted to ask, what is a gas station snack you will never touch?
Never touch.
Oh, like the rolling 7-Eleven, the rolling like things that are constantly rolling on the metal.
I would touch that. I would do that.
It's
The-
like rolling?
like the taquito things with like
Oh,
Monterey Jack cheese in it, and it's like got a light on it, and it's like rolling like constantly. I had one once, and I was literally like, "This is the worst thing I've ever had."
Honestly, like any of those things, like prepared sandwiches,
Yeah.
like if it's like a tuna fish sandwich, I'm like, oh,
Prepared like prepared stuff that's been sitting out. Oh, like yeah, chicken wings that are like sitting.
yeah, no good.
There's tons of stuff I wouldn't touch, but I can't think of it.
I once saw lasagna in a gas station. Like you would see at a buffet. Like it was just like sitting out
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
on top.
A scoop?
I've never seen that before, and I
I'll,
didn't, but I was a bit concerned.
I'll be honest, I might fall victim to something like that.
Yeah.
gas
Yeah.
station lasagna.
I'd be so curious, but yeah, like arguably it's disgusting and a really bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it
Hate to,
happens.
like no hate to like whoever's making that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
Maybe it's really good, slept on like good bechamel, good noodles. Who knows?
Maybe. I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out on your tour. My last question for you is, who are your favorite artists right now?
We're both big fans of Adrienne Linker. I was just reading actually an article about her like songwriting, and somebody was like gushing like crazy. And then I was reading some of her lyrics, which I've never done like without listening to the music. And I'm
Yeah.
like, she is maybe the best songwriter right now.
Yeah,
Hmm.
she's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm constantly like I feel like my musical taste kind of just drift through time, and I'm less like I pay attention to what's happening now, but I'm constantly discovering new artists that are dead and old.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's like it's funny with Spotify because I think sometimes it's so broken up and like you just hear a song and you're like, I love that, and then you like will put it on a playlist and you can sometimes forget to dive into them as a project and an artist. So it's like there's so many songs that I've like have been listening to, but I'm like, I don't actually know who
Yeah.
they are.
Laurie Anderson, and that's someone who it's like that phenomenon where you hear something and you
Yeah.
like dive in.
Who have you been listening to?
I mean, Remy Wolf is always on top of the list.
Love them, yeah.
It's funny when someone asks me that, like all the music I listen to leaves my brain.
Oh, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah,
I never have a
that's
good
like a
answer.
thing. That's like a thing that happens. Like it's like there's like a name for it. When someone asks you a question that you know that you should be able to answer so easily, like your brain holds all your memories hostage for some reason.
It's called forgetting.
It's yeah, but it's a specific kind of forgetting. It's like name
Wow.
a guy. It's like what?
Right, right, right.
Mm.
And then you freeze.
Yeah. I didn't
It's
know it was an
interesting.
actual like phenomenon though. That's
I'm pretty
crazy.
sure it is. I'm pretty sure. Go look
I
it up.
definitely get that.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's almost like the expectation is it should be so easy
Hmm.
that any struggle feels like a failure, and then when you feel like a failure, then you feel even worse and you can't remember more even
Yeah, it does
more.
feel like that guilt thing where I'm like, it's like I can't think of anything, and then I'm like, I listen to music. What are you talking about?
Of course, I can name an
Yeah.
album.
It feels like when you're like driving and you're not going over the speed limit, but you pass a cop and you're like, oh God, they're
Yeah,
gonna like get me, and it's like,
yeah.
why am I freaking out?
It's that same feeling for
So
sure.
it's good,
Yeah,
good to have a note in your phone.
Hmm.
Albums
yeah. The
that you
Beatles,
like.
the Beach Boys.
Exactly. I just thought of two others though.
Okay,
Um,
let's see.
Briston Maroney
Oh yeah, we played right after him or before him.
before him. Same stage though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kristen
we were
Maroney.
talking to them. They were really sweet.
Yeah. Love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also pretty
Long hair.
cool name.
Yes.
Kristen Maroney.
Yeah.
It rolls off the tongue really well, I feel.
Kristen Maroney.
Who's the other one?
Lola Young.
Yeah,
Oh,
of course.
we love Lillian.
That whole album is incredible.
I haven't done the whole album yet.
I haven't done the
I've
whole
definitely
album.
done Messy, but haven't done the whole album.
You should. It's really
She
cool.
also has a lot of music already. She has like two albums
Well,
already out.
I remember noticing her like a couple years ago when she's had a video on TikTok where she was like on a
Yeah.
teeter totter,
Mhm.
and I remember thinking like, wow, she's like funny and she has like an incredible voice.
What's crazy too is that like she didn't really get hate on that video, but she sort of did at the same time. And now she's like massive.
Well, it's cool because like it feels like with TikTok and social media and stuff, it feels like such a struggle to like feels like you have to do it, but doing it is kind of like you have to put quarters in the lame jar because
Mhm.
it just feels like corny, but she like owns it enough and then the
Yeah.
stuff is good. I feel like she's now at a point where she broke through and she no longer she like did it in the way she needed to and now she doesn't she's not a that's not a symptom for her anymore.
We call it climbing cringe mountain. But you have to do it, and sometimes you start sliding down it, and then you feel the shame of, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing a Taylor Swift cover and like posting it, and hundreds of thousands of people are watching it? But
Mhm.
sometimes you have to keep climbing, and you get to the peak of Cringe Mountain, and you can.
And the view
The view from Cringe Mountain is unbelievable.
is unbelievable. She's up there right now.
She's going down the hill on the other side.
She's yeah, it's down for
She
it.
climbed it.
She climbed it. She's going down.
She's done. She's done with the cringe mountain for sure.
We're like halfway up.
We're almost at. We're getting there.
Yeah,
We're
Yeah.
amazing. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. This was great.